Today I'm going to share with you my whole YouTube setup. When I first started my YouTube channel, I was overwhelmed by all the gear options out there. So I spent months researching. I took courses from all my favorite YouTubers to study the gear they used. After I tested out all this gear and made 200 videos, I've developed a camera setup I'm really happy with. I'm going to share with you my whole YouTube setup with all the key components of my camera, lens, microphone, tripod, lighting, storage, and LUTs. 1. Camera. My main camera is the Sony ZV-E10. TLDR, a lot of YouTubers regard this as the best camera you can use when you're first starting out on YouTube. Think Media has called it their favorite beginner YouTube camera. I love this camera because it's got amazing image quality, it's easy to use, and it's a very affordable price. It shoots in 4K, and it has Sony's autofocus system, which is famous for being really fast. If you're not in autofocus, you might shoot a whole take and it'll be all blurry. One of my favorite features is it has this flip out screen, which is crucial when you're filming yourself with a talking headshot or a vlog. When I started with an A6000 and I didn't have the flip out screen, whenever I filmed, I had to shoot myself, then I had to go behind the camera and see what it looked like. Trust me, having a flip out screen is so much easier to shoot. It's also got the 1/8 inch jack for your mic, so you can plug in external audio. Basically, you can get really high image and audio quality from this camera at a very reasonable price. The main downsides are the battery life is pretty bad. You probably get about 30 to 60 minutes per battery if you're shooting in 4K. To mitigate that, I usually carry around 4 batteries when I'm out in the field. The stabilization is also really bad on this camera. To mitigate that, I basically use this locked off on a tripod. And if I am running around and I'm moving about, I'll use the Catalyst browse software to stabilize. And that works pretty well. It crops your image in a little bit, but your footage will look really good. If you're a beginner, my advice would be to just shoot with your cell phone. The camera on cell phones are so good these days that they're at parity, if sometimes better than these mirrorless cameras. Lens. Most photographers will say you should upgrade your lens before you upgrade your camera. The main lens I use is the Sigma 16mm f1.4 lens. I love this lens because it gives me that nice cinematic bokeh in the back that all the cool YouTubers have. And I also love this nice wide focal length. The 16mm lets me cover a lot in one shot. It allows me to be really close to the camera. Like right now, I'm just about 1.5 feet from the camera and get my face in the shot. But with a larger focal length, even when I'm sticking my arm out completely, I might look like this. If you're just starting out, I would recommend getting the Sony kit lens. Pay the extra $100 when you buy the Sony ZV-E10. And this lens is a 16 to 50mm focal length. It's a zoom lens, which is nice because it basically allows you to run and gun and get different types of shots at different focal lengths. You'll also get the benefit of being able to learn what all those shots look like at different focal lengths. And this thing's really light and it actually looks pretty good. There's not as much bokeh because there's an f3.5 aperture, so it doesn't let in as much light, but it's a very nice, clean image. If you've been scribbling all this down, don't worry. I've linked all my gear here so you can go check it out in one place. If you do purchase something, there's no cost to you and I get a small referral fee, which helps me to keep making content like this. Audio is basically half of the equation for audio visuals. I got the boom about 10 inches from my chin. The good news is if you get a nice microphone off the bat, you can increase your production value a lot really quickly. For my talking headshots, I use a Sennheiser MKH416 mic. It's the Hollywood industry standard mic. I have it connected to an XLR cable that's mounted on a mic mount that's attached to the mic stand that then runs to my Sony K3M audio adapter that's attached to my camera. What I love about the MKH416 is it just sounds so premium. You get a nice tight low end, nice clear mid-range, very detailed glossy highs, just this really smooth sound that you don't need to edit that much in post. They use it on all the films that you've seen on the big screen. Matt Davella, Ali Abdaal use this mic. What I love about the K3M is it basically allows me to sync my audio with my video so that I don't have to line them up in my editing software. When I first started out, when my audio and video was separate, it was such a pain and it made me not want to edit. For my vlogging shots, when I'm running out in the field, I love using the Sennheiser MK-E600, which you're listening to right now. What I love about this mic is you basically get a mic that sounds almost as good, if not sometimes better, than the MKH416, but at 1/3 of the price. And this mic also allows you to go premium and plug in an XLR adapter if you want, or you can use the 1/8 inch jack to plug it straight into your camera. I have it plugged in right into my camera so my audio and video are synced. The main drawback from this mic is that it doesn't turn off automatically. So there have been a few times where I forgot to turn off, the battery died. The way I mitigate that is I always bring an extra battery with me when I'm out in the field. Another thing to be aware of is it's kind of long, so it extends past the back of your camera. So if I want to hang it around my neck, it's hard to do. Overall, based on how good it sounds, if you want to get a $300 mic, I would highly recommend the MKE600. If you're just starting out, I'd recommend getting the Rode Video Micro. This thing is sitting on my camera right now. It's the classic creator mic for beginners. For $50, you get a huge jump in audio quality, and it's really easy to use. It's super small. It doesn't draw that much attention when you're out vlogging, and you don't need to put in batteries. You don't need to turn it on and off. You just put it on your camera and it always works. If you're enjoying this video and want to get more creator tips, definitely be sure to that subscribe button. Tripod. Having a stabilized image is key for YouTube and filmmaking. The good news is it can be really simple and cheap. Casey Neistat, he uses a simple tripod and then he has his Joby for going out and about. The tripod I've been using for all my talking headshots is this $75 Sunpack 6600 DX tripod that my family had in the garage. I basically put my camera on the tripod and I adjust it and I shoot. For my vlogging shots, I did recently get the Joby Gorilla Pod. How does it look? I'm vlogging with the video micro and the Joby. This thing's huge. All right, now this is vlogging with the Joby 3K, and so it's a lot smaller. Overall, I would recommend if you're really strong and you want that extra height, get the Joby 5K. If you want something light to travel with, then I would recommend the Joby 3K Pro. If you're just starting out, I would recommend getting a sub $50 tripod on Amazon that's well reviewed. Height-wise, you might want to get like a 60-inch tripod that you can set on the ground and it would still reach up to eye level. After improving your audio, I think you can get the most bang for your buck with lighting. To get cinematic professional lighting, filmmakers talk about 3-point lighting. That's basically where you have a big key light in front of you, 45 degrees off axis above you, shining down on you to illuminate your face. Then on the other side, you have a fill light to fill in the shadows. Behind you, you have the backlight to illuminate your back. And then you can add in practical lights like these colorful ones I have back here to add a little more vibe. As Ali Abdaal once taught me, most YouTubers just have this one big, huge light. Even Peter McKinnon just uses one big light generally. For my setup, my one big light, the key light, is the Aperture 120D Mark II light with a Light Dome 2 softbox attached to it on a Neewer C stand. What I love about this Aperture light is that it gives you this nice, beautiful, high quality, soft light. And so you can see how it's coming on my face. I don't have to worry about shadows. The cons are it's expensive. So for Aperture lights, you pay a premium. Matt Davella also has the 120D Mark II lights. Because they're discontinued, in his Master YouTube course, he actually recommends getting the Amaran 200Ds and a Light Dome Mini 2. If you're a beginner, I would highly recommend just using natural light. I shot a lot of my early videos in natural light and I'll probably still go back to that. And what I love about using natural light is that it looks so natural and beautiful and it's also free. One way you can do it, I learned this from Lavender, is if you have the window here and the sunlight's coming from outside through the window, you can have the light illuminate this side of your face. And that's kind of like your key light. And almost as your fill light, you can use a bounce to bounce the light from the window back to this side of your face so there's less of a shadow. Generally, you want nice soft lighting, and that happens about an hour or two before the sun sets or after the sun rises. If you want a more indoor look, I would recommend just getting some cheap soft boxes on Amazon to start with. That's what YouTubers like Lavender, Ali Abdaal used in the first few years of their YouTube channels. Storage. A lot of people don't think about memory until it's too late, but this can really save your files and save you a ton of time in your whole workflow. For SD cards, I use the SanDisk Extreme, the V30 card, which is good for shooting in 1080p and also 4K. There's things like V60 and V90, but I don't think you really have to worry about that until you start shooting with like a full frame camera. I also like shooting with a 256 gigabyte or 512 gigabyte card because I shoot in 4K and I never want to worry about running out of footage, especially when I'm out in the field or traveling. After shooting, I'll load the SD card onto my external hard drive, where I will then edit. I would highly recommend editing your videos on an external solid state drive if you can. It'll just make your editing way faster. I use the SanDisk Extreme solid state drive. So far, this has been really reliable, really light, and easy to travel with. After I edit on the solid state drive, I will then copy my files to my long-term storage, which is on my Western Digital MyBook, which is an 18 terabyte drive. I will also have a second 18 terabyte drive that backs up that drive. And then I will also back everything up to the cloud via Backblaze. If you're a beginner, you can just start editing on your laptop, just get started, and you'll know when it's time to upgrade to the solid state external drive. As soon as you can, I would start backing up your files, whether to a physical drive or the cloud. A few years ago, my music hard drive died and I hadn't backed it up, so I lost all my music projects. Please back up your files so that it doesn't happen to you. This is a more advanced tip. LUTs are basically like an Instagram filter for your videos. They make your footage look more cinematic and professional. I didn't use this at all for the first year of my channel until I took Master YouTube with Matt Davella, and he told me about his LUTs And it was awesome because I always wondered how he got his eyes to be more green, and it's really his orange and teal LUT. He gave me that LUT through his course, and I use it on a lot of my videos. I also recently got Johnny and Iz Harris's LUTs because I just like the way they color their videos. If you're a beginner, I would recommend ignoring this and just making videos. But once you're more intermediate and advanced, you might want to just buy and play with a few LUTs to see what color really fits your style. In Casey Neistat's filmmaking course, he taught us his whole philosophy on gear. He really believes that as a filmmaker, you are the painter. All your gear, the camera, lens, mics, all that is just the paintbrush. And what really matters is what you paint, which is the story, making your audience feel something. And that was one of the best lessons I learned on my trial and error journey to 1,000 subscribers. And if you want to learn all my best YouTube takeaways, check out this video here. Keep creating, and I'll see you next time.